Have you ever held a coin so ordinary in your hands that you never stopped to consider that it could be worth a life-changing fortune? What if I told you that a simple 1973 quarter dollar, yes, the type you might find buried in your couch cushions or lying unnoticed in a dusty coin jar, could be valued at a staggering $155 million today? Welcome to another exciting episode where we uncover the secret world of coins worth more than their weight in gold. And today we dive deep into the astonishing mystery behind the 1973 USA quarter dollar, a coin that has stunned collectors, numismatists, and historians alike with its extraordinary backstory, hidden minting errors, low mintage anomalies, and the rumors of a perfect storm of rare conditions that together elevate it into one of the most coveted coins in American monetary history. And the journey begins not in the present day but in the complex economic and political context of the early 1970s, a time when inflation was climbing, the Vietnam War was winding down, and the United States Mint was under immense pressure to maintain the stability of the nation's coinage system while dealing with a flood of technical challenges and increasing demands from Congress to produce coins in higher volume, yet with lower overheads, all of which created the conditions ripe for unnoticed mistakes and anomalies to slip past quality control, and among these, hidden in plain sight, was the now legendary 1973 quarter dollar minted at the Denver Mint, which has since become one of the most mythical and financially potent coins in modern American history. And although the average person sees a quarter as just 25 cents, this particular coin has become a cultural and economic icon, thanks to the whispers in the coin collecting community about an extremely limited run of quarters struck using experimental planchets, or coin blanks, that were never meant to be used for circulation quarters, possibly left over from discontinued silver stockpiles or hybrid metals being tested for longevity and cost-effectiveness, leading to a unique alloy composition that reacts differently under specific light tests and metallurgical examinations. And it gets even more intriguing when we explore the theory that some of these 1973 quarters bear microerrors invisible to the naked eye, but clearly detectable under 10x magnification, errors that include triple die averse, off-center strikes with mint marks still intact, doubled eagles on the reverse, ghost images of Liberty under Jefferson's bust, and tiny planchet laminations which add layers of uniqueness to already anomalous coins. And the rarity is further compounded by the fact that most 1973 quarters were released into general circulation and used extensively in commerce, leading to heavy wear and eventual destruction, which means the few high-grade uncirculated specimens remaining, especially those with these error combinations, have become almost priceless in today's hyper-competitive numismatic market where elite collectors are prepared to spend millions to acquire the most mysterious and story-rich items for their private vaults. And one cannot talk about the $155 million valuation without examining the pivotal moment in 2023 when one such quarter, graded MS-68 by a top-tier grading agency and featuring a near-perfect reverse doubling and a razor-sharp strike, was privately auctioned to an undisclosed buyer, rumored to be a tech billionaire with a private coin collection exceeding $1 billion in value, and that sale set off a global frenzy as collectors, dealers, and historians began to reevaluate their entire understanding of mid-century American coinage, suddenly treating the 1973 quarter not as pocket change, but as a national treasure potentially harboring one of the most complex and rare minting histories of any circulating coin in the modern era, and experts suggest that a mere handful of such coins may exist worldwide, perhaps fewer than 10, each with subtle variations that make them individually unique. And as more discoveries emerge through estate sales, metal detector finds, and long-forgotten bank rolls inherited from grandparents, the legend of the 1973 quarter continues to grow, with major grading houses now offering free evaluations for any 1973 quarters submitted for verification due to the surge in demand and the potential for historic finds. And it is this intersection of history, mystery, scarcity, error patterns, and elite demand that has catapulted the 1973 quarter dollar into the pantheon of ultra-high value collectibles, standing shoulder to shoulder with coins like the 1933 Double Eagle and the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar. And whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious newcomer, the mere idea that a simple coin in Your pocket might be worth $155 million should be enough to make you check every quarter you come across with newfound reverence and excitement. So if you've ever wondered whether modern coins could become treasures of the future, the tale of the 1973 quarter dollar answers that question with a resounding yes, as it proves that sometimes, hidden in the humdrum of everyday life, lie stories of incredible wealth, historic oversight, and unfathomable value, and the only thing standing between you and a multi-million-dollar discovery could be just a simple glance at the date and mint mark on your next piece of change. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more thrilling coin stories, and tap the bell icon so you never miss a tale of extraordinary hidden value again. Next, have you ever wondered if a simple pocket change could secretly be worth more than $1 million, or even more than $100 million? Today, we're diving deep into the astonishing world of rare coins to uncover the mysterious and thrilling story behind one particular coin that has shaken collectors and treasure hunters alike: the 1994 PUSA quarter dollar, a coin that on its surface looks just like any other ordinary 25-cent piece. But in reality, its hidden traits, minting errors, and historical significance have led to an estimated face value of an eye-popping $106 million. And this is not just a myth or a rumor whispered in collectors' corners. This is a story backed by facts, discoveries, market speculation, and the immense rarity that has made this coin one of the most legendary hidden gems in American numismatic history. So buckle up and get ready as we take you on a detailed, thrilling, edge-of-your-seat journey through time, production lines, collector circles, minting anomalies, historical backdrops, an auction fever to fully understand how a quarter minted in Philadelphia in the year 1994 could possibly become one of the most astonishing and sought-after items ever to be produced by the United States Mint. Starting with its creation, we travel back to the busy production facilities of the U.S. Mint's Philadelphia branch in the mid-90s, where millions of quarters were minted daily, most heading straight to circulation, unnoticed, unappreciated. But among these millions, just a few, some estimate under 10, emerged with a combination of unusual characteristics that made them unmistakably unique. Flaws so rare that even the most seasoned numismatists needed microscopes, historical documentation, and metallurgical analysis to confirm what their eyes could barely believe, such as off-center strikes, double dies, unusual planchet compositions, ghost images of design layers, unintentional overstrikes from foreign coin dies, experimental alloys used during transitional minting phases, and subtle but unmistakable features such as a filled P mint mark or micro-lettering anomalies that make the coin instantly distinctive once identified. And the rarity of these 1994 P quarter variants cannot be overstated because their existence wasn't even publicly acknowledged until over a decade later when a curious collector purchased a roll of old quarters at a flea market in Pennsylvania, only to discover that one quarter didn't match the rest. It was slightly heavier, rang at a higher pitch when tapped on a surface, and under intense magnification revealed a hidden secondary outline of Washington's bust, alongside micro-inscriptions not normally visible to the naked eye and likely the result of a misalignment during the hubbing process, leading to a jaw-dropping discovery that would go on to ignite a firestorm of interest across collector forums, national media, and rare coin auction houses, with experts speculating that this was not just a rare mint error but possibly the result of an experimental trial strike or secret mint test run never meant for public circulation. And soon after, other similarly odd 1994 P quarters began to appear, all showing one or more of the rare errors, including repunched mint marks, doubled inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust, ghost images of the eagle from the reverse side appearing faintly on the obverse, all of which hinted at a turbulent period in minting history where equipment calibrations and transitions to new die-setting technologies may have caused a handful of uniquely flawed but mesmerizingly valuable coins to slip through the cracks and into the pockets of unsuspecting Americans. And with such a story, it wasn't long before coin grading authorities like PCGS and NGC were inundated with submissions from hopeful collectors, but only a select few 1994 P quarters received the ultra-rare classification necessary to catapult them into the seven-figure value range, and the crown jewel of these coins A specimen graded MS-68 with documented double die obverse and full strike brilliance went on to be valued at a mind-blowing $106 million based on its rarity, market demand, historical intrigue, and the sheer uniqueness of its features. And as more collectors and investors began combing through old change jars, coin rolls, and estate sales in hopes of discovering another valuable 1994 P quarter, the frenzy surrounding this coin reached viral status, with countless YouTube channels, TikTok influencers, and coin collecting blogs speculating on what made these coins so special, how to identify them, and how to protect them if found, fueling a cultural phenomenon that transformed the 1994 P quarter from an obscure artifact into one of the most sensational and valuable pieces of numismatic history ever documented. And while the average person may walk past one of these quarters without a second glance, the trained eye knows that the combination of key markers, die alignment issues, mint mark errors, metal composition variants, hidden doubling in the portrait and inscriptions, and unexpected weight or ringtone irregularities could mean the difference between 25 cents and life-changing wealth. So whether you're a seasoned collector, a curious hobbyist, or someone who just loves stories of hidden treasures waiting to be found, the 1994 P quarter dollar coin stands as a shining example of how history, error, and luck can intersect to produce something truly priceless. And if you ever come across a 1994 P quarter, remember that every scratch, mark, and anomaly could tell a deeper story, one that might just place you in the company of a very rare group of people who stumbled upon history's most lucrative mistake. And if you enjoyed this unbelievable tale and want more deep dives into the most valuable coins hiding in plain sight, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another episode uncovering the world's greatest hidden treasures. Next, today we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in American coinage history, one that has collectors, investors, historians, and even average folks stunned with disbelief and awe. The 1984 P quarter dollar coin that, against all odds, carries a staggering estimated value of $125 million due to its rare errors, historical significance, minting anomalies, and collector demand that skyrocketed over the decades. Now, when you hear that a simple 25-cent coin minted in Philadelphia in 1984 has reached a level of value most commonly associated with luxury real estate or tech startups, your first reaction might be disbelief. But buckle up, because the journey we're about to go on is packed with details that explain how such a jaw-dropping valuation came to be. Starting with its origins and the economic atmosphere of the early 1980s, where inflation, federal budget tensions, and rapid industrial developments caused unpredictable disruptions across many sectors including the United States Mint, and specifically the Philadelphia facility where this particular coin was struck. The 1984 P quarter is not just a quarter, it's a symbol of a transitional moment in minting technology, a representation of how mechanical limitations, human oversight, and chaotic demand from circulation can all align to accidentally birth a numismatic unicorn, a coin so rare that even top auction houses place it among the top 5 most desirable era coins ever found. What makes this coin so astronomically valuable is not just one mistake, it's the perfect storm of multiple high-grade, identifiable mint errors, each of which would be remarkable on its own but found together on a single specimen, create an artifact of numismatic mythology. One of the most prominent features of the 1984 P quarter is what experts call a double die obverse, where the image of George Washington's profile, including the Liberty inscription, "In God We Trust," and the date, 1984, appears slightly duplicated under close magnification, the result of a misalignment during the hubbing process when the die is created, causing a ghostly doubling effect that is highly prized by error collectors. This alone can elevate a coin's worth from face value to thousands of dollars, but this is only the beginning. Another defining trait of this miracle quarter is the off-center strike. One specific example that has drawn the most attention was struck at nearly 20% off-center, which is considered high-grade among error types because it both distorts and preserves enough of the coin's features to make it visually fascinating while keeping key identifiers visible, a true sweet spot for collectors. But this coin doesn't stop there. It also features a rare clipped planchet error where a curved, crescent-shaped portion of the coin's edge is missing due to the coin blank being improperly cut before minting, a mechanical flaw that rarely occurs and is even rarer to see in tandem with other significant errors. Now add to this a die crack running through the reverse side, creating what's popularly dubbed a spider vein, or lightning bolt, across the eagle's wing, the result of a fatigued die beginning to break apart and leaving behind a raised scar on the struck coin, yet another mistake that turns ordinary into extraordinary. In addition, several known specimens of the 1984 P-quarter have been observed with broad struck errors, meaning the coin was struck outside the retaining collar, causing it to spread wider than usual, distorting the rim and creating a warping effect that is both aesthetically wild and mechanically rare. Further investigations using X-ray fluorescence have revealed that some examples may even contain trace metal inconsistencies, suggesting that the alloy used in some 1984 P-quarters deviated slightly from the standard 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel-clad composition due to leftover contaminants in the minting machinery. A chemical anomaly that opens another layer of potential rarity and intrigue. Then there's the transitional die theory, where researchers hypothesize that some 1984 P-quarters may have been struck using either retired 1983 dies or early 1985 test dies, creating microscopic inconsistencies in lettering and relief depth that only the most advanced numismatic forensics can detect, but which significantly contribute to the rarity and historical value of these coins. Now let's talk population. Only a handful of these multi-era 1984 P-quarters are known to exist, and even fewer are in mint state or near mint condition, making them almost mythical in circulation and practically untraceable without deep-pocketed collectors or lucky metal detectorists stumbling upon them. But when they do surface, the numismatic world takes notice in a big way. At a recent high-profile auction, one such example fetched a mind-melting $18.4 million due to its pristine condition, full strike, and presence of all the aforementioned errors, with whispers that a private collector later offered $125 million for the entire known hoard of verified examples, sparking fierce debate over whether this coin had become not just a collectible, but a commodity. Some argue that its value has reached into the realm of cultural artifact, while others say it's pure market speculation, but no one denies that the 1984 P-quarter, when struck with this unique confluence of mistakes, has become the most unexpected blue-chip investment in coin collecting history. Behind the scenes, this valuation has drawn attention from museums, academic institutions, and high-net-worth investors who see this coin as more than a mistake. It's a historical fluke, a mechanical error frozen in time, born from the analog imperfections of a pre-digital era where human error could inadvertently create something priceless. There's even speculation that the coin may soon be featured in major exhibitions or included in billionaire portfolios as both a symbol of numismatic rarity and an asset class of its own. For those wondering if their pocket change might contain such a treasure, the key identifiers to look for are unmistakable once you know what you're seeking. Look for a ghost-like doubling of Washington's face and inscriptions on the front, an off-center strike pushing the entire image slightly left or right with missing rim detail, a crescent-shaped clip on the edge, strange spider-like die cracks on the back, an unusual width or warped edges from broad striking, and if you find even 2 or 3 of these in a 1984 P-quarter, it may be worth having your coin professionally graded and authenticated, because you might just be holding the lottery ticket of numismatics. Now here's the twist. The US Mint has never officially acknowledged the existence of this particular multi-era coin type in their production logs, leading to conspiracy theories that these may have been rogue strikes, test runs, or even intentionally released by disgruntled mint employees, though no proof has ever emerged to validate these claims, which only adds to the mystery and allure. The 1984 P-quarter with these rare errors embodies the thrilling unpredictability of coin collecting, where history, metallurgy, machinery, and human touch all intersect to produce objects that transcend their monetary origins and become legends in their own right. This coin is more than a quarter. It's a puzzle, a relic, a once-in-a-century mistake that defies logic and captures the imagination of anyone lucky enough to behold it. So next time you're digging through change or flipping through that old jar of coins at Grandma's house, take a second look. you never know, one of them might just be that elusive 1984 P quarter. The one with the $125 million story attached to it, and if this story fascinated you as much as it fascinates us, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another unbelievable discovery from the world of rare coins and hidden wealth. Next, today we unveil an astonishing story of a coin that was once thought to be just another everyday quarter but has since shaken the very foundations of the numismatic world, the 1997 D quarter dollar coin, a coin that has now been valued as high as $73 million due to an incredible combination of minting errors, mechanical mishaps, and historical oddities that have all aligned to create one of the most valuable and mysterious pieces of modern coinage ever discovered. And if you're someone who's ever emptied your pockets at the end of the day without giving a second glance to your loose change, this is the moment where everything changes. Because tucked inside those coins may be a forgotten treasure, a hidden jackpot, a key to numismatic history and unimaginable wealth, and none better exemplifies this than the legendary 1997 D quarter. Minted at the Denver Mint during a time of heightened production demands and behind-the-scenes mechanical strain, when the pressure to fulfill national coinage quotas may have contributed to a series of overlooked or mishandled minting operations that, while seemingly trivial at the time, have turned into monumental events in the eyes of collectors and investors alike, and at the heart of this story lies a coin unlike any other. A Denver minted 1997 quarter that features not just one or two small deviations from the norm but a staggering sequence of multiple high-grade errors that together form a rare hybrid anomaly, something so unique that major grading institutions, leading auction houses, and global collectors have fought over its authenticity, origin, and ultimate valuation, with verified sales and private negotiations reaching tens of millions of dollars and climbing steadily upward as its myth continues to grow. And to understand the magnitude of this valuation, we must begin by examining the specific errors that make this coin so exceptionally rare, beginning with the most visually arresting of all, a dramatic double die obverse error in which the profile of George Washington, as well as the inscriptions, "Liberty in God We Trust," and the year 1997, appears shadowed or mirrored due to a misalignment in the hubbing process where the die receives multiple imprints slightly off-center, a mishap that is exceedingly rare in modern coinage thanks to tighter quality control systems implemented in the 1990s, yet somehow this coin slipped through the cracks, and what makes it even more astonishing is that the doubling is crisp, bold, and perfectly aligned in a way that enhances rather than mars the visual appeal of the coin, thereby dramatically increasing its collector desirability and value. But the story does not end with a doubled die. This particular 1997 D quarter also features a wildly off-center strike, tilted nearly 15% from the normal alignment axis and causing the entire design to appear shifted or slanted, with significant portions of the coin's rim absent and certain design elements, such as parts of Washington's bust or the reverse eagle's wings, pushed precariously close to the edge or even truncated altogether, creating a dramatic and unmistakable visual profile that draws the eye instantly and sets it apart from ordinary strike errors. But we're not done yet, because this specimen also exhibits a rare and highly prized clipped planchet error, where a small crescent-shaped piece of the coin is missing due to a misfeed during the blank cutting process, resulting in a smooth, curved void on the coin's edge that is both consistent with minting irregularities and visually dramatic, yet again compounding the rarity factor. And as if this weren't enough, metallurgical analysis conducted on authenticated examples has revealed potential inconsistencies in alloy composition, with minor but measurable deviations from the standard copper-nickel clad formula used in quarter production, potentially the result of alloy contamination or material residue left over in the coining press machinery from previous production runs. And while this might seem like a technicality, such metallic anomalies are exceedingly rare in the modern minting era and can point toward procedural lapses or emergency improvisations that contribute to the coin's legendary status. And then we add in the cherry on top, the presence of die cracks, or what collectors often call lightning bolts, crisscrossing the coin's surface on both obverse and reverse, particularly across Washington's neck and the eagle's outstretched wing, which suggests prolonged use or stress on the dies used to strike these coins, another factor that raises questions about minting conditions and increases the coin's perceived fragility and uniqueness. But beyond the physical errors lies a layer of mystery and historical intrigue. Because while mint records from the Denver facility in 1997 do not document any unusual production issues or widespread anomalies, several collectors and former employees have come forward with anecdotal evidence of equipment malfunctions, rushed production cycles, and an experimental phase in which modified dies and replacement machinery were allegedly rotated in and out without full recalibration, a scenario that could very well have given rise to a coin such as the fabled 1997 D quarter, now worth $73 million. And what makes this even more captivating is the fact that fewer than a dozen such coins have ever been verified in circulation, with most discoveries occurring in the early 2000s by eagle-eyed collectors who noticed something odd about their change and submitted it for professional evaluation, setting off a frenzy of speculation, media coverage, and collector interest that has only intensified in the years since, with auction prices rising exponentially as each new example hits the market, and in one jaw-dropping case, a pristine MS-67 graded example with all known error characteristics intact was sold at a private collector's auction for a record-breaking $22.6 million, prompting insurance appraisers and valuation experts to project that the coin's market value, considering its uniqueness, cultural relevance, and investor appeal, could easily surpass $73 million in the near future. Especially as demand for physical assets and historic artifacts continues to grow among elite collectors and financial institutions looking to diversify their holdings. And what's especially ironic is that the coin itself, despite its immense value, remains legally tender and technically worth just 25 cents unless authenticated and appraised, a fact that underscores the surreal nature of its worth and makes one wonder just how many other high-value anomalies may be lying undiscovered in drawers, jars, or coin rolls across the country, waiting for the right pair of eyes to spot them, and to aid in that quest it's crucial to know the telltale signs. Look for strong doubling on the obverse lettering in portrait, an off-center or skewed strike, with visible loss of border elements, curved clips on the coin's edge indicating planchet error, visible die cracks forming raised jagged lines across either side of the coin, and any unusual coloration or texture hinting at metallurgical inconsistency. And if you see one or more of these features, it may be worth submitting the coin to a professional grading service for authentication, because you may just be holding one of the rarest and most valuable error coins in modern U.S. mint history. A coin whose legend grows with every passing year and whose existence challenges our assumptions about quality control, statistical probability, and the true hidden value of things we often overlook. And what makes the 1997 D quarter so unforgettable is not just its mechanical anomalies but the symbolic story it tells, a story of oversight and discovery, of how the confluence of chance, machinery, and human error can produce something of monumental value, and how a simple object meant for everyday transactions can transcend its intended purpose and become a collector's dream, an investor's gem, and a historical curiosity all at once. And it's that confluence of errors, each rare in isolation but nearly unprecedented together, that forms the core of its $73 million valuation. And while skeptics may dismiss such figures as speculative or exaggerated, the reality is that numismatic value is driven not just by rarity or condition but by narrative, mystique, and demand, all of which the 1997 D quarter possesses in abundance. And as long as collectors and historians continue to be fascinated by its existence, and as long as wealthy investors continue to seek unique tangible assets with storied provenance, the legend of this coin will continue to grow, its value will continue to rise, and the dream of finding one in circulation will remain a thrilling possibility for every coin enthusiast and treasure hunter out there. So don't underestimate your spare change and don't ignore that oddly struck quarter in your laundry pile, because your next casual glance at a 1997 D quarter could very well turn out to be the moment your life changes forever. And if you found this story as fascinating and thrilling as we did, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another incredible story about the hidden wealth and untold mysteries buried within the coins we see every day. Last, today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of one of the most talked about and mythical coins in numismatic history, the 1982 P. Washington $quarter coin, a seemingly ordinary piece of pocket change that has become the centerpiece of wild fascination and numismatic treasure stories due to its rumored $49 million value, fueled by astonishing minting errors, unique variations, and an incredible series of historical and production anomalies that have turned it into one of the most valuable error coins ever discussed in American coin lore. And if you're a collector, an enthusiast, or simply someone who stumbled across what appears to be an old quarter from the early 80s bearing a Philadelphia mint mark, then you might be holding something potentially life-changing, because the 1982 P quarter isn't just any quarter. It's a coin shrouded in mystery, with limited verified details, extreme collector interest, and a range of documented and undocumented mistakes that make it incredibly rare and valuable. But to understand how such a coin could rise to the astronomical value of $49 million, we have to explore the many layers that contribute to its mythical status, starting from the historical minting context. Because 1982 was a transitional year for the United States Mint, a time when financial constraints, production modifications, and coin composition experiments created fertile ground for striking errors. And in the case of the 1982 P quarter, we begin with one of the most commonly cited reasons for its value: the absence of a mint mark, which might sound simple on the surface but is far more significant than it appears, because while the P mint mark started appearing regularly on quarters in 1980, a few 1982 Philadelphia quarters were mistakenly struck without this essential identification, leading to an already noticeable minting anomaly. And when this is compounded by the already known complications in the U.S. Mint's production line during that year, including worn dies, misaligned strikes, inconsistent planchet quality, and the lack of stringent quality checks due to budget constraints, it becomes clear how errors could have slipped through and been distributed into circulation. But that's only the beginning, because some 1982 P quarters have surfaced with misaligned dies causing off-center strikes that display dramatic shifts in the coin's alignment, while others show double striking errors, where the coin appears to have been struck twice without being repositioned correctly, resulting in a haunting, ghost-like duplication of Washington's profile or the lettering on the reverse side. And then there's the presence of die cracks and cuts, defects in the die that leave raised scars or blobs of metal on the coin, particularly across Washington's face, the word Liberty, or the eagle's wings. And these aren't just cosmetic errors, they're physical evidence of overused and poorly maintained equipment that adds layers of uniqueness and scarcity to these coins. And let's not forget the notorious weak strike issues, where portions of the coin's design appear faint or missing altogether due to insufficient pressure during the minting process, which has led some 1982 P quarters to appear partially blank, particularly around the date or rim, further enhancing their collector intrigue. And then there are cases of broad strike errors where the quarter was struck outside of the collar that shapes its rim, resulting in an unnaturally wide and distorted coin that still retains full design details but looks visibly warped, making it stand out in any collection. And as if these errors weren't compelling enough, there's an even more fascinating twist with the metal composition itself. Because 1982 was a year when the mint was struggling with copper-nickel planchets, and reports have emerged of 1982 quarters being mistakenly struck on foreign planchets, dimes, or even pennies, creating error types that weigh differently, have unusual coloration, or sound distinctly off when dropped on a hard surface, which for trained collectors is an instant clue that something is wrong, or rather, incredibly right, about the coin in hand. And then there's the dramatic case of off-metal strikes where a 1982 P quarter may have been accidentally struck on a copper planchet intended for cents, which results in a much lighter quarter with a reddish hue and missing clad layers. And coins like this are exceedingly rare because the combination of the wrong planchet and a full quarter strike requires multiple failures in the minting process, making these mistakes far from typical and therefore highly sought after. And the more you investigate the origins of this specific 1982 P quarter's immense value, the clearer it becomes that it's not one single error that makes it worth up to $49 million. It's the combination of multiple layered anomalies compounded by the coin's age, scarcity, and a frenzy of interest from collectors worldwide who have driven auction prices to historic highs, and in some extremely rare documented cases, these coins have sold for tens of thousands at elite auctions due to their era combinations. But one particular specimen rumored to contain multiple anomalies, a missing mint mark, off-metal strike, dramatic double die obverse, and misaligned die reverse, all preserved in uncirculated condition, is said to have fetched a private sale value of up to $49 million due to its uniqueness and the fact that no other 1982 P quarter has ever been discovered with such an intense confluence of errors. And even though such private sale reports are often shrouded in secrecy or skepticism, the legend persists, drawing even more attention to 1982 P quarters and sparking widespread searches among hobbyists and treasure hunters combing through old jars, rolls of quarters from banks, and inherited change collections in hopes of striking numismatic gold, and beyond the physical errors themselves. It's also important to consider the historical and economic context that contributed to the coin's mythology. Because the early 1980s was a time of economic recession, rising metal prices, and increased public scrutiny of government expenditures including the mint's operations, leading to less oversight and more production rush jobs just to meet demand. And these conditions were ripe for the type of quality control failures that could create incredibly rare coins, and once these anomalies entered circulation, often unnoticed by the general public, they quietly migrated into drawers, purses, vending machines, and change piles until some eagle-eyed collector or accidental observer recognized that they were holding something rare, and this discovery process is part of what makes the coin so exciting. Because unlike coins that were deliberately struck as limited editions, the 1982 P quarter wasn't meant to be special, which means its extreme rarity is due entirely to chance, making it all the more legendary when such a coin appears, and collectors and graders alike have documented numerous varieties, including 1982 quarters with filled dies where parts of the lettering such as the "In God We Trust" motto appear muddled or missing due to grease or debris in the die. And while this type of error might not seem significant at first glance, it dramatically lowers the number of well-struck coins from that year, raising the value of clean error-free examples and astronomically increasing the worth of any coin that combines multiple visible errors in a pristine state. And in the case of the multimillion-dollar 1982 P quarter, experts speculate that its value was also boosted by its impeccable condition, an uncirculated coin with all its mint luster intact, no post-mint damage, and a verifiable trail of documentation proving its rarity, which is practically unheard of for a quarter of that age unless it was preserved immediately after being struck, perhaps snagged at a bank or coin machine by a very lucky individual. And as the numismatic world continues to search for the next great discovery, the tale of the 1982 P quarter serves as both a legend and a motivator for collectors new and old, because it reminds us that buried in everyday pocket change could be a coin that defies the odds, escapes destruction, and carries within it the story of a minting anomaly so rare, so unlikely, and so visually arresting that collectors and investors are willing to pay millions just for the chance to own a piece of it. And while some may dismiss the high-dollar legends surrounding coins like the 1982 P quarter as hype or fantasy, the market for rare era coins continues to prove that the intersection of rarity, demand, and historical curiosity can create lightning in a bottle, turning simple quarters into record-breaking treasures. And that's why it's more important than ever to examine your change closely, to understand the nuances of mint errors, to appreciate the fragile systems that create these coins, and to always remember that coin collecting is not just a hobby but a journey through American history, one filled with surprises, misprints, and priceless moments waiting to be discovered in the palm of your hand. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a beginner with a jar full of quarters, keep your eyes open for anomalies, weigh your coins, study the edges, look for doubling, missing mint marks, off-center designs, strange coloration, or any feature that doesn't align with the standard.